Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. It is a rainy Sunday. I've got my Ramones hat on. Don't feel like going out, and that's okay because I got a big box from Criterion. So let's go through what they sent me in the last flash sale. All right, so when the flash sale kicked off, I did not have a clear list of all the movies I was going to get. I mostly went on instinct. These were all movies that I knew I wanted to get at some point. A handful of them I definitely knew I was going to get this sale. I feel good about what I got. I think my instincts were strong on this one. I've got a good smattering of different genres and, different actors, directors, that kind of thing, different eras of movies. So I feel really, really good about this sale. I'm going to try to do this extremely quick. I'm just going to run through them because most of these are blind buys. So let's go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead in spine order. That seems like the easiest way to do it. All right, so the first movie I got is Spine number 35, and that is 1955's Diabolique by Henri Georges Clouzot. This movie, I originally was aware of the one from the 90s with Isabella Adjani and Sharon Stone. And I forget who plays the dude in that one. But that was my first awareness of this movie. And then I found out years and years later that it was a remake. So I've always been very interested to see the original version of the movie, see how it holds up to the older one. I don't remember the older one very much. I have some impressions of it, but I don't remember being blown away by it. But I've always wanted to see the original, so now I can. All right, so the next two movies that I got in the sale, surprisingly, while still in spine order with everything, they're the same director. And that is Spine number 65, Spine number 157. That is 1998 and 2001's Rushmore and the Royal Tenenbaums. So Rushmore, I saw one day on television, enjoyed it. I think this might be the first Wes Anderson movie I ever saw, but I was unaware of Wes Anderson. I hadn't seen Bottle Rocket. I don't even think that The Royal Tenenbaums had come out yet, but I remember enjoying it. And I haven't really seen it since. Have always wanted to pick it up, especially because I got into a lot of the later Wes Anderson movies. And this was, of course, the movie that brought back Bill Murray, but also, broke out Jason Schwartzman. So, looking forward to seeing this again. My wife and I have been enjoying all the Wes Anderson movies as I've been picking them up. So there's another one. And then, of course, Royal Tenenbaums. I love it. I've seen it a ton of times. I just needed it back in my collection. Used to have it on DVD, but I don't know what happened to it. When I was living with an ex-girlfriend, there was a massive purge of my collection, which I have always regretted. So I'm really happy to have this back into my collection, and on Blu-ray, no less. All right, so the next one is a big jump in spine numbers, and it's actually a collection. We have spine number 631, and that is the Trilogy of Life by Pier Paolo Pasolini. Basically, I wanted to get this because with the announcement of Pasolini 101, I just didn't have any Pasolini films in my collection, and I decided, let's go ahead and pick up the Trilogy of Life. I do enjoy movies that are based on other works of fiction or, biographies, that kind of thing. I'm really looking forward to checking this one out. So if you don't know the collection, there are 3 movies, and each of these movies also happen to be spine numbered. And we've got the Decameron. We have Canterbury Tales, and we've got Arabian Nights. So 3 movies based on 3 very notable works of literature. So I'm looking forward to checking those out. So the next one I've got is by a director that I have not seen any of his films. I've really, really wanted to check a lot of them out, and I didn't know where to start. So I ended up getting 2. One of them will be much later since we're going in spine order. And this one is one that I don't actually hear many people talking about, but it is centered around a subject that's very near and dear to my wife's heart, and that is dance. And the movie is spine number 644, and that is Pina, by Wim Wenders. So Pina has a really interesting story behind it. Pina Bausch was a German choreographer, and I guess she had a friendship with Wim Wenders, and they were planning on collaborating and creating a work together. But unfortunately, in 2009, Pina Bausch had died. So this ended up becoming a love letter to his friend. So I'm really, really wanting to check out the different choreography. That they a lot of it is done throughout like the city. They seem to incorporate a lot of different elements into the performances. But the main reason I got it was so that my wife could finally check out this movie. It looks beautiful. You can just tell that there's so much energy into the performances. I mean, I'm going to take this out real quick. I mean, just look at that right there. Hopefully there's not too much flash there. I mean, just look at the energy in that one shot alone. I think it looks amazing. I cannot wait to check out this movie with my wife. I think we're going to enjoy it quite a bit. All right, so the next film I got is Spine number 810, and that is In a Lonely Place by Nicholas Ray, starring Humphrey Bogart. Nicholas Ray, when I started discovering some of the movies he had in the collection, I got really, really interested in checking out his films. Bigger Than Life, They Live by Night, but I knew I had to start with the Humphrey Bogart film, obviously. Now, unfortunately, when I opened up the movie, I have the insert for Tokyo Story, which was unfortunate. So I don't have the insert for In a Lonely Place. I don't have the essay by Imogen Sarah Smith, which she's in a ton of these Criterion collection. She does a lot of like essays and interviews, and I really wanted to know what she was going to have to say about this film. Don't have it. I've already emailed Criterion about it. Haven't gotten back to me because it was literally just about an hour ago, but I'm sure it'll get taken care of. The next one we've got is number 937. This is the first martial arts film in this haul, and that is Dragon Inn. So King Hu has two movies in the collection that I'm aware of. I don't think there's another one. There's A Touch of Zen and Dragon Inn, and I went back and forth between the two of them. In fact, I had both of them on my list at one point, and I decided, no, you got enough. You got plenty. Just get one. Dragon Inn, I think, looked like the most celebrated out of all of them. Looked like awesome action. I cannot wait for this one. So the next film that I picked up in this haul is also Wim Wenders. It is Spine number 1007, and that is Until the End of the World. So while I was going through all the different films that I wanted to pick up, I knew that I needed to get a science fiction film. And I also wanted a road trip movie, and this fit both bill in one simple package. It is about the length of two films, though. It is 287 minutes, so this is going to be quite a watch. It is on 2 discs, and I looked it up, and there's the movie is broken into 2 acts, so I've got a feeling that Act 1 is going to be on disc 1 and Act 2 on disc 2 as well. So, hey, it's going to be quite a day when I decide to actually watch this whole film. It's going to be a bit of a daunting task, but, it stars the late, great William Hurt, and so I am really, really interested. The trailer I saw for it looked trippy as hell, and I can't wait. So the next film that I picked up in the haul is Spine number 1051, and that is The Elephant Man by David Lynch, starring John Hurt and Anthony Hopkins. So this film, if you're unaware, is based off the true life story of Joseph Merrick, although they call him John Merrick in the film. And it's a film that I've had the chance to see a couple of times. I was always aware of it growing up, but I never really got the chance to watch it. And so I am very excited to check this one out. It's another digipack. You got Anthony Hopkins right there. You got John Hurt, I believe. Looks kind of like John Hurt. I don't know. Is that John Hurt? I don't know. But real beautiful digipack. Interestingly enough, the only digipack that I picked up this whole sale. But I'm going to give it a watch, and I hope I enjoy it. All right, so we're getting to much more recent additions to the Criterion collection. The next two were ones that I wanted to pick up last year, and they just did not have them at Barnes& and Noble during those sales. And during the flash sale, I just had a bunch of other things I was trying to get. So I ended up passing on these, but I knew I was definitely going to get them this flash sale. The first one being Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity, and that is spine number 1126, starring Fred McMurray and Barbara Stanwyck. So the first movie that I ever saw with Barbara Stanwyck that really jumped out at me and really stuck with me was her performance in The Furies. While I had a lot of issues with how that movie was translated and certain things they had changed, her performance was amazing in it, and I cannot wait to see her in Double Indemnity. That's one of the main reasons. I hear she is terrifying, and I can't wait. All right, so the next entry onto my list, this was a movie I desperately regretted not picking up last year during any of the sales, partially because they weren't available to me. But this is Sidney Poitier's Buck and the Preacher. That is spine number 1140. And I gotta say, so I am a big fan of sort of non-traditional Westerns. Growing up, Westerns only felt like one type of movie to me. And just this past the past year, I've picked up so many Westerns by the Criterion Collection that I've enjoyed because they looked so outside of the norm of what most people would think of as a Western. I'm thinking the Ballad of Gregorio Cortez, Destry Rides Again, and there's more in there. But this one, Buck and the Preacher, I am really excited. It's got Harry Belafonte in it. I love hearing the man sing. I love watching the man act. Putting him right next to Sidney Poitier. And I mean, I believe this is going to be a hell of a good time. Cannot wait to pop this in. So last year, I was getting ready to finish out all of the movies that this particular director had in the Criterion Collection. And then suddenly they announced another one. And I knew I'd have to wait for the sale. Anyway, I'm talking about Spine 1166. And that is The Adventures of Baron Munchausen by Terry Gilliam. This is the sort of lost film, for me anyway, that I have never been able to see. This is going to be a complete blind buy, but I have all of the other Terry Gilliam Criterion entries. Picked this one up on 4K, even though I don't have a 4K player. But I knew one day, just seeing different scenes from it looked gorgeously shot. So I can't wait to one day see it on 4K, but right now I just can't wait to see it. So the next film that was recently announced and had just recently been added to the collection is Spine 1173, and that's Robert Townsend's Hollywood Shuffle. This was a movie that I almost thought I imagined because I remembered certain parts of it, a lot of the vignettes as a kid. These were all things that I was like, that was a movie, right? Like that existed, and nobody knew what I was talking about. And then Criterion, bless them, they went ahead, they're putting the movie out. It just came out in February, and finally I've got some vindication because when I saw those clips, when I saw those images, this was the movie I was thinking about. So I can't wait to go ahead and watch this again. I think I've only seen parts of it on TV. It is time to watch the whole thing and really, really deep dive into this one. So the next film that I've got is Spine 1174, and that is John Woo's Last Hurrah for Chivalry. So this was a movie that was an homage to his mentor, the martial arts innovator, Shang Shi. And I just needed a martial arts movie. I know I got Dragon in. Whatever. This movie looked great. So this movie looks fantastic. I mostly know John Woo for his more like action films, Hard Boiled and whatnot. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing some of his earlier work and, just different styles from the man. So yeah, Last Hurrah for Chivalry. Don't have much more to say. I've never seen it. So the final pickup of this flash sale isn't actually even an official spine numbered entry into the collection. It's actually one of the Eclipse series, which I've been wanting to delve into for a long time. And there's a whole bunch on there that I'm really looking forward to one day diving into, but I figured I'd start small, I'd get one, and the one I got was all based on my viewing of one movie by the director, and that's Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence by Nagisa Oshima. Real briefly, this film is a really interesting look at culture clash, especially in extreme situations. The film takes place in a Japanese, it's a prisoner of war camp in Japan. So you have the Japanese officers that are in charge of keeping order within the prison camp, and you have one officer, Lawrence Vanderpost, who, he speaks the language, he understands some of the culture, not all of it, which is another interesting part of the film, and he's trying to maintain a sort of balance as much as he can within the camp. And then you've got David Bowie's character, Sellers, who is just causing all kinds of conflict. Ryuichi Sakamoto plays one of the officers, and his bouncing off of David Bowie's character is just really fascinating to watch. And then on top of it, the if you dive into the supplemental features, there's a lot of really interesting culture clash that happens within the making of the film. Nagisa Oshima was the director, but Paul Meyersburg, who is British, was the screenwriter. And even after completing the film, while they had a lot of, while they fought for how the film was made, and I think eventually, like, both were happy with how the film came out. Even afterwards, there was how they viewed the finished film was, very, very different in certain aspects and regarding certain characters. So even afterwards, you had the main two creative forces disagreeing on certain elements of it. I don't think in any hostile way. It's just they disagreed with what they saw. Your takeaway is based on your experiences and your view of the world. And I think that's a lot of what this film is. And I always thought it was interesting. And so I did want to see some of Oshima's other works. And so I picked up Oshima's Outlaw 60s, Volume 21. And this comes with 5 films in it. You've got Pleasures of the Flesh, Violence at Noon, Sing a Song of Sex, Japanese Summer, Double Suicide, aka Night of the Killer, 3 Resurrected Drunkards, aka Sinner in Paradise. And these do run kind of the gamut of a lot of perhaps some controversial work. I'd say they, from what I can read, they almost border on exploitation films. But because of Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, I want to give Oshima the benefit of the doubt, and I'm very interested to see what he did in his earlier works, roughly 20 years earlier. So I picked up the set. I'm really hoping for a good start, but even if I don't like every single film in this movie or in this set, I that's not going to deter me. I want to check out what other directors have done, and other Eclipse series that may never make it to Blu-ray and may only be on DVD. All right, so that was my haul, and quite a haul. I had been saving up for this this flash sale, which for a moment felt like it was never going to come. It was a little later this year, but that's all right. Got plenty of things to watch until the July sale. So any comments that you have, any opinions you have on the films I got, or please, what did you pick up in the sale? Let me know down below. I'd love to see what you got. Maybe there's something I've seen, maybe there's something I haven't seen, and you'll be bringing something new to my attention. Anyway, that is the haul. Thank you for joining me. Remember, eat good food, watch good movies, take care of yourself and someone else if you can, and always make it good. Take care.